So I want to begin really just by sharing with you some of what I've been reading over the past 2 years that have really helped me grow emotionally, spiritually, mentally, in my relationships, key relationships in life. I won't go through all of the books that have been meaningful for me, but just a few of them, man, that have really given me language, perspective, conceptual imagery that has allowed me to make better decisions and choices, relate to those in my work life, home life, in my friend circle better. And I want to share some of those with you. Some of them came from 2022, others 2023, and some I'm reading right now. These are not in order of priority or even preference. I'm just sharing them for you to consider taking a peek or going and listening to some of the authors' interviews on YouTube, listening to some of their podcast interviews so that you can have fodder for your thinking and for your conversations in your life. And one of those books is Be Exceptional. Be Exceptional by Joe Navarro. Joe Navarro is a former FBI agent, a former FBI investigator who has had years of experience and research in the arts of communication, observation, body language analysis, and overall presence skills. And he's written a book called Be Exceptional: How the 5 Traits That Set Extraordinary People Apart. I don't know how I came in contact with this book. I think I was browsing in Barnes & Noble one day in Virginia, and the color of the book kind of captured my attention. So shout out, Mr. Navarro, to whoever your team of graphic designers were, because it caused me to pause. And then the title, and I looked at the table of contents, and then I kind of started to thumb through some of the chapters. Excellent writing, beautiful storytelling, and the concepts are not just presented in a surface way, but he takes you deep to show not only the, theoretical whys behind some of the traits that he presents, but also the ultimate outcomes. And so I'm actually going back through it now, and chapter 3 is all about communication. Now, I'm a communicator, and I communicate in many ways with people in various settings. So whether it's preaching, teaching, counseling, listening, providing feedback in and out of meetings, that's just on the work front. You also have communication that happens for me in a home space with my bride and with my extended family members and friends. And so I am on an aggressive hunt to consume as much that I can that helps me grow to become a better communicator. Sidebar, I was just listening to Charles Duhigg on the One Thing Book podcast about his upcoming book called Super Communicators. So shout out to Charles Duhigg. Joe Navarro's Be Exceptional, chapter 3 on communication, man, talks about the goals of effective communication. And I don't want to spoil it all for you, but one particular concept of communication that he talks about is this principle of validation. That those in our lives who stand on the other side of us and receive our efforts to communicate effectively, one of those things that they're listening for and looking for is validation. Do you actually care about what I'm sharing with you? Do you actually have interest and sincere desire to listen actively, to provide feedback, or is your main objective and agenda just to fix something where I might not be asking you to help me fix something? I just want you to hear what I have to say. Have you heard me when I really need to be held or hugged or have some kind of soft touch point that acknowledges the emotional need behind my sharing? And this has been so essential for me as I have, and I'm kind of teasing where I'm going to go, as I have been adapting to a new context and a new setting, developing new relationships, being known and learning to know, being treated a number of ways by people and learning to treat people in a number of ways, having to listen and learn while also serving as an interpreter for others about who are you and how can we know you, how can we trust you. And validation has been a principle that has come up in moments small and large. And I share that with you because this year I suspect that you too are going to have an enormous amount of opportunities, some planned, some spontaneous, where the effectiveness of your communication is going to go a long way to develop the quality of relationships that you're going to have. Now, this principle of validation will be applicable in transactions, right? I mean, you're talking about, I know you're on a health tip right now. I see you. Yeah, you're looking good. You're looking fit. But every now and then you may stop by a fast food joint. You just want to go through the drive-through, get a hot chocolate or something from Starbucks, or you want to go your local fast food restaurant, grab some fries or something like that. And even in those transactions, don't sell them short. Those are opportunities as well for you to practice validation, right? Through your words, through your body language, through your feedback, and even responses. Sometimes what people send to you, it may be a little rough, but how you respond can definitely redirect that communication. But then also there will be long form meetings, retreats. You'll have to have some crucial conversations, and communication as outlined in Joe Navarro's Be Exceptional is great. I'd recommend that one. Another book is called Essentialism by McKweon. Shout out to Dr. Dave Knight, one of my VPs of student life at Oakwood University while I was there. Retired now, living the great retirement life. He put me on this book called Essentialism by McKweon. Check it out. And I'd also add Effortless, which is the second book, the companion to that. But Essentialism, the disciplined pursuit of less. When I first heard the title, I thought immediately, okay, this is another ode to minimalism. And that's not what it is. It's not even just trying to do less things numerically, as much as McKweon talks about doing less of what does not help you make your highest contribution. And just like I gave you one concept from Be Exceptional, let me share this one from Essentialism. When it comes to decision making, when it comes to being able to place boundaries around our commitments, sometimes those of us who have a people-pleasing vein and also a vein of perfectionism, or you just kind of want to show up in life as a good person, help where you can have a hard time saying no. And so he gives this formula to help us process how we respond, especially in the way of commitments that we make. And the first thing McKweon says is, if it's not a clear yes, it's a clear no. I know, right? Let me say that again. You probably want to write it down. If it's not a clear yes, it's a clear no. Now, acknowledging exceptions and nuances to that, as a general filter that you can use to help you process commitments that you make, what do you think about that? If it's not a clear yes, it's a clear no. I think it helps us to think through those moments in our lives where we have overcommitted because we didn't know how to say no to that which our feelings and even our plans were saying, you can't say yes to this. But before we knew it, we were committed, and that was time, that was resources, brain power, bandwidth, energy, time away. And so I've been using that in my life, and it's really helped me to maintain margin in my life. Because if we're operating on the margins, eventually we'll burn out, we'll fume out, and we won't be able to make our highest contribution. So check out Essentialism. Third book, Crucial Conversations. I'm not going to spend as much time here, but it talks about how to talk when the stakes are high. I told you I've been really trying to consume a lot of material on better communication as a leader, as a person, and not so much because I felt as though I was a poor communicator, but man, I just want to be the best communicator that I can be. I'm reading a book now, Better Conversations, right? Crucial Conversations. Joseph Grenny is the lead author, and there are several co-authors that contributed to the overall book, which is Crucial Conversations. And this is a book that's a part of an entire platform. I mean, you can get training on how to be a Crucial Conversations facilitator and mediator, which I'm interested in doing. And so this whole idea is talking about this intersection of high emotions intersecting with disagreements and differences of opinion that create high emotional stakes. And they admit that when emotions are high, whether it's you and another person, you and a team, you and your family, you and an ex, you and your co-parent, you and somebody with whom you have a strained relationship, or someone with whom you have a great relationship, but it's just a little tough right now in this current season, Crucial Conversations don't necessarily come with skills corresponding to making those effective. And so they outline how you go about that. Here is one principle that has been amazing to me. Every one of us has an inherent desire to have safe conversations. That is, conversations that are free of relationship altering threats, conversations that do not have those features that make us feel as though we are targeted as a person, that our dignity is called into question, or that we can otherwise be jeopardized or compromised emotionally as a result of trying to make progress in this exchange, and sometimes series of exchanges. And so they say one way to tell if a conversation has lost its safety is if one or more than one persons in this conversation goes silent. The second way is if one or another person or both becomes violent. Silent, violent, right? And I'm sure right now you're already beginning to see in reflection moments in some crucial conversations for you where there was silence and there was violence. I know that I can think of those. And by the way, when they say violence, they're really locating it in a verbal kind of sense, where now we start to hear insults or jips or jabs or low comments, or a person becoming passive or aggressive or passive aggressive, reserved, or silence where there's this shutdown. The person is disengaged. There's no progress being made. Somebody may still be talking, but the other person has stopped listening, right? Those indicate, hey, flashing red light, we need to restore safety. We need to reset. We need to come out of the conversation that is exploring whatever the topic is and be able to have another conversation that establishes safety, right? Man, I'm telling you, this has been helpful for me, especially when there have been disagreements or misunderstandings, where I've been able to cue in on my own emotions and say, am I going silent? Am I tempted to become a little volatile here or self-protect? Or what about the other person? And how can we come back to find, and this is what they say, a pool of shared meaning? In other words, let's try to depersonalize this as much as possible and find out what it is we're really trying to accomplish. What's the topic? And then they go into how you can prepare before you even open your mouth for conversations to maximize safety, right? Be exceptional, essentialism, crucial conversations. And then I must add, expectant. What if there was a book in the Bible, a gift from God in every book of the Bible just for you? This was written by my bride, Kyla. It is a wonderful devotional book that has blessed my life and is right now blessing people's lives around the world. And I don't say that as a hyperbolic statement. By God's grace, she's been able to share it with people in different parts of this world. And it is kind of creating a devotional movement, inviting us back to the Bible, and not just as a heavy book of doctrine, a thick book of a lot of laws and treatises on principles from heaven. I know depending on where you are in your life, man, the Bible can seem very intimidating. What God has been able to do through her, man, is present the Bible as a treasure chest filled with gifts in every book of the Bible just for each of us. And it has been a catalyst for individuals to revitalize their devotional time with God or start time with God. And so I want you to check out Expectant. What if there was a gift in every book of the Bible just for you? I'm going to drop a link to all of these resources down in the show notes so that you can have a chance to be able to engage them and research them and really just consume them in your own way. And going forward in future episodes, I'm sure I'll be sharing other items from my reading program that have been a blessing to me and that are, my prayer is, a blessing to you. Now, last two, I won't go deeply into these because these are my 2024 books. Right now, I'm going through two books. One is by David Brooks. I'm looking at them right across the way here in my living room. How to Know a Person is the name of the book, David Brooks. How to Know a Person Deeply and Be Known Deeply. How to See a Person Deeply and Be Deeply Seen. And the second book is by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, out of Boston, Massachusetts. And that is The Body Keeps the Score. Body, brain, and mind in the healing of trauma. In future episodes, I'll talk more about those two. I'm going through them right now. And I think they're resources that, hey, you might want to check out. All right.